Welcome back to Dice Paper Miniatures. We're just carrying on today with another preview from the Adepticon live show from last night. Really excited about these, so let's begin. So one of my other favorite previews from last night was actually for Blood Bowl. A little bittersweet, admittedly, and I'll go into why here in just a little bit. But we had a preview of the new Norse Blood Bowl team. This team looks amazing. We're going to go ahead and watch the video. I'm going to dial back the audio because we don't want to hit any copyright issues, of course. Here we go. We knew this was coming, right? Because there was that preview from Forge World for the Yeti. And of course, I was doing a kit bashing of the Darkoath Savagers from the new Warcry Red Harvest box set. If you haven't checked that out, you can find those images on my Instagram and Facebook. But yeah, those when I saw that Yeti come out, I basically paused on my kit bashing because I had obviously it was a pretty good inclination that a new Norse team was in the works. I think we all thought it was going to happen. I don't think any of us expected a complete like revamp of the team. It's not a total revamp, of course, but as you saw in that video, there's definitely some new positionals. So let's go ahead and take a look at those. Go ahead and pause that and go on here. So the Ulfenware, I believe is what it's called, or werewolf model. That's basically what we believe this to be, right? From what the early reactions on the video last night, the image in the foreground is probably that Ulfenware, and then the traditional Berserker model is likely the one in the running position behind him. And then these appear to be linemen. It seems all the linemen have this kind of a Celtic or knot type pattern to a gauntlet, which is interesting because when I was doing my kit bashing on my Darkoath Savagers, I try to take like the axes, if you will, from that series and reduce them down to kind of like a glaive or gauntlet type weapon. Basically, the scale of which was maybe a little too big, but that's what I was trying to work within that theme. And they kind of have a similar thing. And this is kind of a direction they've gone with the recent Khorne models. And now we see these with the Norse. So, you know, the community is kind of, at least on the feedback I got on mine, that they liked the models without the weapons. It seemed as you started deviating into more of a weapon in one hand, you know, they kind of felt like, oh, that's kind of Guild Ball, maybe a little bit too much. That could be a concern, but I do think they integrate. Personally, I'm okay with it. This kind of gauntlet with a blade element, even if it is a little bit on the large size, I think it allows the opportunity of kind of taking the aesthetic of that war band or army or faction, if you will, right? The team. And incorporate that more into the visual of their overall costume, right? The uniform that they have. And speaking of uniforms, the old Norse that we have seen in the past were more just basically like a fur underwear and boots, and everything else was exposed skin, maybe a helmet. More of a Conan Barbarian kind of vibe, where these definitely feel they're more clothed. They feel more like you'd expect kind of a Viking aesthetic, which is what the Norse, you know, you assume to have. So maybe a little on the nose, but I think that's okay, personally. If it's a Norse team, it should look like Norse, not like something completely unrelated to Norse mythology. That seems odd, but it's a thing. But on one hand, I'm happy that we got this new team, of course. I'm a little unsure with these new positionals. They've kind of merged the Valkyrie team, it seems like, with the Norse team now, because these new positionals, this female character in the foreground, is supposed to be a blend of maybe a thrower and a catcher. So that'll be interesting to see, because I actually liked the thrower in the Norse team, and I basically liked the catcher that we had as an option in the Norse team. Those skills I thought were really, really great. I think it was the catcher in particular was really close to being a blodger, right? Now we don't know for sure what the Valkyrie brings. She's probably, I'm hoping, has access to passing skills and agility skills, but I'm not sure. Again, until we see those stats, I'm not sure if it's going to be an upgrade or maybe just a lateral or a downgrade. In the background on this image, we see the other Ulfenware. Again, cool models. It's interesting that a lot of the male models are just bald. Cool, fine, whatever, but uh they're either bald or they have like a top knot. None of the traditional like really long flowing hair Viking-esque vibe. Unless it's on the female characters, then they have the longer hair. Okay, whatever. Another one of the Valkyrie positions in the background, and the guy that looks like Techno Viking in the foreground. It's interesting. He has kind of a scenery piece. He's got the tactical rock in there, but haven't seen that included in a model in a while. But it works. I'm okay with it again. Uh, but yeah, that's a lineman again because he's got the gauntlet thing going on. Interesting, they have beer in some of these. Um, I totally dig it. It's going back into more of an adult direction in that respect, as opposed to maybe a little bit on the kiddier side. So I'm cool with that. Speaking of beer, again, all the linemen are pretty much identified. It looks like with this gauntlet kind of effect glaive. I think glaive is a bladed like gauntlet. I could be wrong. It could just be related to any kind of bladed weapon. But regardless, um, just cool models. Now, what we're not seeing in here are the beer pigs, but we have those down here. Now, initially, these look like they might have just been tokens, right? But they were defined as positionals. So, again, we saw they had the Ulfenware still. They identify they're still berserkers, and the Valkyries, as we mentioned, and then everyone else is just a lineman. But these beer pigs, no idea what these are going to actually bring to the table, so to speak. Um, I guess we'll find out. They're pretty cool sculpts. There's some speculation they provide a type of buff. Maybe they have guard built into them, so when they're around some of the more squishier models on your team, they help with that. Who knows? Who knows? But really excited to see what they bring to the team. Um, I guess we'll find out. So that was it, of course, for the Norse. I would love to get your feedback on that. What do you think? What do you think of the new sculpts? Personally, I think they look amazing, but I'd like to have your thoughts on that. And what do you think about them mixing up the team? Probably shouldn't have been surprised. They did the same thing with the Corn team. They kind of mixed it up from the old Legacy team. And now we have a new Norse team that definitely is different than the old Legacy Norse team. And before I forget, I did mention that I was working on a kit bashing project that was taking the Darkoath Scavengers and making them into a Norse team. If you want to see those images, you can go to my Instagram. It's Dice Paper Minis. Be great if you wanted to follow me there, but you can kind of see what I've been working on. Here's an example of one of the models I use as a kit bash with the human team, the thrower from the human team, with a Conan looking model from the Darkoath Scavengers. So while I really enjoyed working on these, and maybe I will complete this project, I basically did half of the design of that team, and I was gonna get another warband of the Darkoath Scavengers to convert into the other half of my team. But like I said, when I saw the Yeti, I knew, wait a minute, I'm going to put the brakes on for now because this team may be getting revamped, and I want to see what GW brought with their new designs before I finished mine. Now, I'll probably get the new box, of course, depending on the scale of the new models. If mine still feel like they fit in, I may go ahead and finish this project up. Or if not, I'll just leave it for maybe just, portfolio piece type thing. I'll paint it up for display. And it was, I got to work on my green stuff and kit bashing skills and just leave it at that. But I just wanted to point those out. If you would like to see some of the projects I'm working on behind the scenes, definitely my Instagram or my Facebook page would be a great resource. I'd recommend probably the Instagram over Facebook, but they both exist depending on what you want to do. So yeah, I would definitely like to get that feedback from you all. But yeah, if you enjoyed this content, please consider subscribing and hitting that notification bell. It really helps with the channel's growth, the algorithms, and it's just greatly appreciated. And that's it for this episode. But stay tuned because I will have some other previews that we saw from Adepticon's live coverage from last night. And as always, thanks again. Take care, be safe. I'll see you all again soon. Bye bye.